Everyone, let's all stand up and sing this together. These are the hands, this is the voice, to celebrate the goodness of God. I lift up my hands, I lift up my voice, to celebrate the goodness of God. So as we wait, our hearts wide open, fill us as we pray, that we may walk in the fullness, the wonder of your grace. These are the hands, this is the voice, to celebrate the goodness of God. I lift up my hands, I lift up my voice, to celebrate the goodness of God. We hear your voice in the silence, a whisper sweet and clear. And it is then that we discover your presence ever near. Ours are the hands, ours is the voice, to celebrate the goodness of God, to celebrate the goodness of God, to celebrate the goodness of God.
Lovely, you all. Thank you so very much. All right, so let us begin by closing our eyes and taking in a deep cleansing breath. And another. Settling into our heart space. Sweet Spirit, we are so grateful for this moment and all that has led up to it. We are so grateful for all of the blessings, the treasures, the gifts, the assistance, the guidance, and even the contrast of life. For we know that it is all in the service of our highest and best good. We relish and savor this opportunity today, in this moment, in every moment, to see the divinity in ourselves and to celebrate it in others, abandoning the need to argue our innocence by making another person guilty, our need to argue for limitation to inhibit our own ascension. All is well. We are ready to receive and ready to give of ourselves in service and unconditional love, knowing that the world is that much closer to healing as we go. Thank you, and so it is. Amen. All right, now the Metro Richmond prayer. We pray for the workplaces of businesses of metropolitan Richmond, for owners and managers, for servant leadership, civic responsibility, and ethical decision-making. Thank you. Next up, we have some lovely opportunities on the horizon. First up, Unity's World Day of Prayer for 2022. This event is Wednesday, September 7th. Now, the advertisements often reference the Central Time Zone. However, as we know, we are in the Eastern Time Zone. We will be convening here in honor of this event at Unity of Richmond or streaming online, however you choose to be present, at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on September 7th. We will begin with our own service and then stream the global event at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central. Again, you can join in on this event either here at the physical space or online, and it should be a lovely event as it always is. Next, a book study program starting in October. There is a combination of in-person at church or at home streaming options. There's a list of books to choose from selected according to our educational planning. If you're interested in hosting an event, please let us know. There will be a facilitator orientation and the book group will be 4 to 6 weeks. This is an opportunity to be together and talk about topics of interest as well as to get to know one another in the congregation. Next up, we have a wonderful educational opportunity with Reverend Cheryl Fair, The Christ. This is a Unity Spiritual Education and Enrichment course, and this begins this week on Tuesdays through September 20th at 7 p.m. Now, for those that have already signed up, you should be receiving your link to the Zoom event on Monday. So be on the lookout for that sometime tomorrow. As for the class, Unity believes that the Christ is within everyone. This belief is perhaps the single greatest distinguishing characteristic between Unity and traditional Christianity. The primary goal of this course is to help you develop an effective understanding of what the Christ is and how you are part of the Christ idea. Whether a beginning Unity student or if you've studied Unity teachings extensively, you will, as you work through these lessons, develop both a head and a heart understanding of the Christ. And also, we have some lovely art on display by our congregant artist, Baba Ra. Is Baba here today? Okay, in the spirit, of course. Please check out his work in the gathering space out here. 50% of any art purchased goes to help Unity of Richmond. And it's some truly lovely work, beautiful color compositions, perfect for gifting, adding warmth to the home or inspirational aesthetic. Please check that out on your way out if you didn't on the way in. And now, I think I shall hand it over to the music team. Thank you.
Good morning, beloveds. Look at us break our bonds in our kitchens. Look at us rallying all our defenses. Look at us waging war in our bedrooms. Look at us jumping ship in our dialogues. There is no difference in what we're doing in here that doesn't show up as bigger symptoms out there. So why spend all our time dressing our bandages when we've the ultimate key to the cause right here, are underneath? Look at us form our cliques in our sandbox. Look at us micro kids with both our hearts blocked. Look at us turn away from all the rough spots. Look at dictatorship on our own blocks. There is no difference in what we're doing in here that doesn't show up as bigger symptoms out there. So why spend all our time dressing our bandages when we've the ultimate key to the cause right here, are underneath? How I've spun my wheels with carts before my horse, when shine on the outside springs from the root. Spotlight on these scenes of simpler reasons. This core born into form starts in my living room. Key to the cause right here, are underneath. Ooh, are underneath. Ooh, are underneath. 'Cause what we're doing in here, it always shows as bigger symptoms out there. So why spend all our time dressing our bandages when we've the ultimate? The key to the cause right here, are underneath. Thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, everyone. So now let us please welcome our speaker today, the Venerable Reverend Barbara Hess. Barbara has dedicated much of her adult life diving deeply into truth principles foundational to unity and yoga. She has taken over 22 credentialing classes in Unity's foundational teachings to become a licensed Unity teacher. She's also completed over 400 hours of training in yoga to become a certified meditation teacher, a yoga philosophy instructor, an asana instructor, and a yoga therapist. She not only has studied these systems, but has integrated the practices into her daily life. Over 15 years ago, Barbara, along with Deborah Woodward, developed the Yoga and Unity program here at Unity of Richmond. This program continues to offer classes, meditation opportunities, and other practices to support the inward journey of divine exploration. Please give it up for Reverend Barbara Hess.
Well, thank you for that honoring, Stephen. I am not a reverend, but I do act as a speaker of the divine. So thank you. And, I want to begin with, the title is put up as Dancing with the Divine. And the talk is really dancing as the divine. Because whenever we say with, there's a duality. And when we say as, there's only one. And that leads us to the first unity principle. So I'm going to be interweaving the teachings of yoga with the principles of unity because they're universal. And I have had a yearning my whole life for something. I think a few of you out there have felt the same thing. I was not sure what this yearning was for. And so I spent many years looking to fill my yearning through external things, studying, jobs, family, traveling. But once I started practicing truth principles in earnest and directing my attention inside, I realized the yearning was all about becoming aware of divine essence on the inside and outside. And as Stephen said, I've dedicated most of my adult life to dive deeply into these truth teachings. And they're both foundational to yoga as well as unity. So today, my talk is Dancing as the Divine. And I'm going to be interweaving unity principles and yoga sutras to support your own awareness of how you dance as the divine. Each of you are just glowing with divinity, whether I see you here or I know you're out there in Zoom world. So recently I did a workshop offered through the Eastern region. It was called Metaphysics Live Learning Lab. And we began each night with meditation. And then Paul Hasselbeck, who was the facilitator of Metaphysics Live, led the discussion. And each discussion was led with a reminder. We are all 100% divine and 100% human. Each night was filled with deep discussions and reflections on how we understood or perceived ourselves as 100% divine and 100% human. And what this does, 100% divine and 100% human, is our first and second unity principles. It's really hard sometimes to think of God as a principle. And so the definition of principle is a fundamental truth. It's a proposition that serves as a foundation or system of belief or a stream of reasoning. So it's truth with a capital T. It's universal. And so our first unity principle basically says God is all. And it's followed by the second principle, which boldly states, I am God. Now, I looked it up and to see how other churches explain this. And the Spiritual Center of Springfield in Virginia details these principles on their webpage. It says, perhaps the most powerful is number 2. And that's what Stephen read this morning. I am God. And this may seem shocking to those who come from traditional religious backgrounds. However, notice that it follows naturally on principle 1. If all is God, and I am part of all, then I am an expression of God. For a long time, unity referred to this as a spark of divinity and heirs of God. But our metaphysical understanding has been evolving to go beyond these caveats because it's not a spark, we're 100% divine. And when you believe this, it allows you to go inside, and it makes it a personal responsibility and an action. God is all, and God is being me. The point of attention. All the darshanas or yoga systems agree that your divinity is intact. It does not need to be created or added to. I'll begin with a sutra from the Shiva Sutras. It says, Chaitanyam Atma. The self is consciousness itself. Now, Chaitanyan, by definition, means consciousness, alive, vibrating, enlivened. And Atma is self. So Chaitanya and Atma means the self is consciousness itself. God is all, and I am an expression of God. Consciousness is the name given to the source of everything, And it is akin to the first principle, God is all. Consciousness is that which existed before anything existed. And this source has other names too. It's named self, which I'm calling it, and that's self with a capital S. You can call it beingness, divine essence, the one reality. You can call it God, whatever works for you. Yoga says consciousness is the source of everything. And that being said, consciousness is the source of every human being. Consciousness is inherent within you. And inherent means existing in something as permanent and essential. So the essence of the sutra teaches us that we are the one reality, which is the source of all that exists, and we have the capacity to know this. Self-knowingness is so important. It allows us to grow our awareness of this ever-expanding energy of the universe, consciousness itself, within ourselves. You contain the divinity of the entire world, and you have the capacity to know this. How divine. And when you do this, you see it in yourself and in everyone and everything else. Like water contracts to become ice, consciousness contracts to become you. Consciousness is what you're made of. Ice is water inside and outside, and you are consciousness, outside and in. And yoga says this world and everything in it is the form of the formless. The formless takes form, which is you and me. And to fully understand this radical statement, you have to personalize it. So right now, close your eyes for a moment while I say this to you. You are the formless, ever-existent reality that pervades all things and has become all things. You can take that very personally. And so now let's take it a step further, and you softly repeat this to yourself after me. I am the formless, ever-existent reality that pervades all things and has become all things. Allow the truth of these words to direct your attention inside. In simple terms, Yoga and Unity is saying, God is being me, God is being you. Unity and all the darshanas, or the yoga systems, agree that your divinity is 100% intact. It does not need to be created or added to. However, it can be concealed from you. Yoga understands the relationship between your mind and yourself, your divine essence. Basically, your mind blocks your experience of self, or it can distract you from yourself, or it can do both. My teacher says your mind blocks your own inner light in the same way you can use your thumb to block the sun. Consciousness takes on contraction, becoming your mind and your body. So your mind is a contracted form of consciousness. And my teacher explained it to me in a course a few years back, Grace and Grit. Your mind is a form of consciousness specifically designed to limit you. And this is how consciousness contracts to experience being not consciousness. By taking on a mind that says, I'm puny, I'm small, I'm lonely, I'm not good enough, I'm not enough. Our minds can love to whine sometimes. But if you use your mind to say the exact opposite of these things, something happens inside. I'm vast. I'm all-encompassing. I am the one reality in all that exists. I am the absolute, ever-existent beingness itself. And unity principles speak to this also through the principles 3 and 4. Principle 3 states, I co-create with God through thought. There is even a song that we love to sing. Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. So let's practice this. Just as Unity says, watch what you say. Right now, say, I'm puny. Say it after me. I know you don't want to. I don't like to say it either. Great. You're getting it. But right now, say, I'm puny. I'm small. I'm not enough. Now say, I'm vast. I am the absolute, ever existent, beingness itself. So sit with those two statements and reflect on how you felt after each one. You see, we all have a choice. You can choose how to use your mind. Your mind can cut you down to size, or it can shine the light of your divinity. We have a choice. You don't become divine. You already are 100% divine. You just need to grow your awareness of your divinity. And the way you talk to yourself is one way of doing that. And another way is principle 4. I commune with God through prayer and meditation. So in the metaphysics lab, Paul Hasselbeck emphasized the need to begin each meeting each day in prayer and meditation. He said that it is essential. And Unity agrees with this because it is a principle. Remember, principle is defined as a fundamental truth. So why do we begin with meditation, an action that we take? Because Unity teaches awareness is key. If you are not aware of your own divinity, then you can't do anything about it. Awareness is key. And yoga says when meditating, you experience this all-pervasive divine reality as a cosmic reality, the reality that created the world. But at the same time, it is your own personal experience of yourself, and that's why yoga calls it yourself. It's easy to attain because it is your own self, your own divine essence, and it pervades all levels of your being. God is being you, and God is being me. And actually, all of yoga practices are to support you in this inward exploration. Patanjali, who is a great yoga master, says in Sutra 1.3, Tada drashtu svarupa vastanam. And the moment your mind becomes still, you abide in your own divine essence. Patanjali says, still your mind and something will happen. And what happens? You abide in your own divine essence. It's a very simple teaching. Every time your mind becomes still, you have an experience of your capital S self, divine essence. Your self is right there in you as you. Your own self is being you right now, even if you're not aware of it. Still your mind, and an experience of your own divinity will arise. And when you still your mind goes beyond your thoughts. You go to the depth of your own beingness, your divine essence. And when you discover your own divine essence, you see that your body, your mind, and your heart make you able to shine the light of consciousness into the world, the light of your divinity. These principles are universal. Unity's first 3 principles, all is God, and God is being you. You express through thoughts and actions. And you can choose if you come from a more divine or a human perspective. It's your choice. And principle 4 is a key action step in Unity, as it is with yoga. When you go within, you have an experience of your own divinity. You grow your awareness. We had a rich discussion in the metaphysics lab about what happens as you expand your awareness of your own divinity. Awareness is key. If you're not aware of your own divinity, then you can't do anything about it. So the first point that I want to share that we discussed, someone stated, as you become more aware of your innate divinity, you become more comfortable with what is. You accept what is, rather than labeling it good or bad, right or wrong. you ask, how do I use even this for good and to bless others? At every moment we have the power of choice. We can react from human instinct or bring forth our divine capacities. It is not the event or person that is the point of focus, but what we do with it. That's what is important. Can our intention be to bring forth good from whatever occurs in our life? That's a bold question. The second point, if I want someone to accept me as I am, then I must accept the other person the way I want to be accepted. And this leads us to have compassion for the other person. You can have compassion without agreeing with a person. Compassion is a divine attribute that expands as your own divine awareness expands. And as your awareness expands, you're able to see the divinity in others and the ideas and the events. Then, when you're dealing with the most challenging situations with compassion, it expands the capacity for everyone to express their divinity. You can still take action and set boundaries, which are very important in our life, but from an awareness of compassion and acceptance. And in the Metaphysical Learning Lab, we call this 100% divine and 100% human. And today I'm calling it dancing as the divine. When you discover your own divine essence, you see that your body, your mind, and your heart are able to shine the light of consciousness, the light of your own divinity into the world. And your life becomes a divine dance, inside and outside. And yoga says the point of human life is that you must live and know both of these realities, the whole of your own beingness, the formless, and the divinity of your form, which is your body and mind. You are already consciousness itself. Now all you have to do is know and experience yourself as you are, inside and outside. You live 100% divine and 100% human. You dance as the divine. And that leads us to our fifth unity principle. Once again, a principle is a truth. I express God through action. So I'm going to use the Bhagavad Gita as a reference. The Bhagavad Gita consists of 18 chapters, and it's described as a universal love song by God to his friend man. A foreword of the Bhagavad Gita by Father B.D. Griffith says, "It is then that Krishna, the cosmic Lord, comes to counsel him, Arjuna. And Arjuna represents the human soul seated in the body. And Krishna is the inner spirit, the God within, who is there to counsel him." The same as it is with us. So the Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 verse 48 says, "Samatvam yoga uchate." Yoga is evenness of mind. Krishna is basically saying, get down to it and do it. Do what needs to be done. But don't get disturbed about it. Just do it. And do it with evenness of mind. With evenness of mind, you are undisturbed no matter what is happening. You do not withdraw from the world, but you maintain an inner steadiness in the midst of life. And Krishna expounds on evenness of mind while talking to Arjuna. Direct your attention on the task at hand and do it. Do it to the best of your ability, without worrying. Don't even fret about the outcome. Besides, work done with anxiety is far inferior than work done from a calm state. You really don't have control over the results of your actions anyway. And then he continues to say, you work without desire, and this might seem impossible, but the way to do it is to substitute thoughts of the divinity for thoughts of your desire. Do your work in this world fixed on the divine. The yogic lessons expounded in the dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna are meant for us today in 2020. And so one way I do this when I choose to read the Bhagavad Gita is I substitute my name for Arjuna. And it makes these teachings so very personal to me. And this was one of the main points that I spoke of earlier from the Metaphysics Learning Lab. As you become more aware of your innate divinity, you become comfortable with what is. You accept what is without labeling it as good or bad, right or wrong. This is evenness of mind. And once I became consistent with meditation and other unity and yoga practices, I started noticing a change in the quality of my mind. I began to recognize that things that used to cause a knee-jerk reaction didn't affect me the same way anymore. I had more clarity in situations, and I was able to stay calm, or calmer. I still get aggravated, and when aggravated, I recognize beneath the aggravation is a sense of calm. And I can choose to focus on the aggravation or on the calm. And so this is the beginning point for me of recognizing evenness of mind. A way I sometimes describe evenness of mind is like when you're balanced on both feet and a big wind comes by. It doesn't blow you over. You might tilt, but you don't get blown over. Another verse from the Bhagavad Gita, verse 2.50 says, yoga is skill in action. You do all actions with joy and without expecting anything in return. So Krishna is telling Arjuna that he must stay in his life and perform his duty because it is the right thing to do. And performing his duty, however difficult, while immersed in the knowing of his own self, without being attached or afraid or needy or greedy, is the way to live. It's focused, skilled in action. And skill in action is when all action, whether it be big or small, major events or minor, are performed from the truth, from the awareness, from the bliss of your own self. When you act from the awareness of your own divinity, then you are not attached to the results of your actions. And that seems like a lofty thing. But all of us are divine. And so all of us can choose to come from whatever point of divinity we are at that point of awareness. Being the best Christ we can be. Being the best expression of God. And if we make a mistake, we make a mistake. And then we recognize it and we start acting again from that new point of awareness. And we can do it again and again and again while we support ourselves, each other, and the world in growing the divine awareness in ourselves and each other. The key is found in understanding the form and the formless. We are 100% human and 100% divine. God is all, and God is being me, and God is being you. Each of us are form. We all have a body and mind, and we're all formless. We're that one reality, consciousness itself. And so let me get these two books. Didn't bring them up. These are two references. This being Point of Power, which is a book written by Paul Hasselbeck. And in it, he states, the Bible also tells us that when God created us in God's image and likeness, God declared it was good. And this comes from Genesis 1:31. God saw everything that he made, and indeed it was very good. Each of us is innately good, not because of our deeds, but simply because we each are God expressing. It is because of this innate reality, this innate potential, that we can bring forth good from any situation. And on the back, someone quoted him saying, by realigning with our inner Christ, each of us can realize our magnificent as a point of power. So wherever you are right now, you're capable of expressing your own divinity at the point you're at. And as you expand your awareness, which is what unity talks about, then you can show up expressing more and more and more. You don't become more. You're just able to express more. And what yoga says is you're cleaning up your mind. You clean up your mind like you clean a dirty window. You know, the sun shines through the window. It's not the window that's doing the light. It's the sun. It's not your mind that is the light. It's your divinity that shines through your mind. And the moment you become still, your divinity shines forth. So the less cluttered we have our mind, the less busy our minds, the more our divinity can shine through. It sounds simple, but it is a task to work towards. And then this is a wonderful book, Man's Eternal Quest, and it's by Paramahansa Yogananda. And he says, by attuning your consciousness within in meditation, you realize your immanent Christ consciousness. Immanent. It's there. It's right there, he's saying. And when you know Christ consciousness, you know that you and your Father, cosmic consciousness, are one. The divine Christ consciousness hidden in every atom of creation is the same as the cosmic consciousness of the Father beyond creation. And I thought this was really powerful. The story of the self-realized society, which this comes from, is a very personal story of a yogi who had a divine experience with Jesus after Jesus had left his body. And he came to the realization of the magnitude of the teachings of Jesus and the Christ principle. So the Christ principle is not just in unity. Yoga says it too. And it's in many teachings as they honor Jesus for what he demonstrated. They say Jesus was a person who had realized the full Christ potential. And each of us are capable of that. And Jesus said, this and greater works you too can do. So it's pointing us towards this path. And I found it very comforting when I was studying unity and I picked up this book that it verifies the principle, that all principles are true. And unity has 5 basic principles that direct you 100% to how to direct your life and live. And living this truth is available to everyone. We all have the capacity to dance as the divine every moment of every day. We all have the power to decide. And there are so many practices that support your growing awareness of your own divine essence. And when you and I and everyone sees our body, our mind, our work, and our relationship as divine, seeing our life as divine, then when even the most challenging things come up, we dance as the divine, inside and outside. And what a grand dance that is. Namaste. So now we're going to go into meditation. And I'm going to read something that Paul Hasselbeck wrote. What he does is that he really honors the daily word. And the daily word, though, is also written for people who are not familiar with unity. So it uses terminology to help people understand these broader concepts. So every week, Unity has given him permission to rewrite the daily word from the week before as the absolute word. And so last week, the absolute word was holy. So let's start settling into meditation, allowing yourself to settle into your seat, continuing that journey inside that you already had started. You already started it when you said to yourself, I am vast. I am ever existent. I am beingness. I am consciousness itself. Right here, right now, as you shut your senses and turn them inside, allowing yourself to rest, to step into your own divinity. It's right there. It's right there underneath your thought, right there below your breath. And one way of recognizing it is to repeat a divine truth to yourself so that your mind is being bathed with divine words. Another way is to recognize that you have a pause. Unity, we call this the silence. The pause has been built into your ever being. You have a pause between your thoughts, a pause between your breath. And you can choose to have those thoughts go one right after the other, and the pause is really small. Or you can settle into your inside and allow the mind to rest, and the gaps become bigger. Just like if you see a train on a train track going fast and you could hardly see the other side. When the train slows down, there's a bigger gap that you can perceive between the cars. That's the pause between your thoughts. I am holy, and I see holiness in everyone and everywhere. Before I became aware, it seemed there were places where the presence of God felt especially near, places that felt holy. And these may have included churches, other houses of worship, shrines, our favorite places in nature. And in the poem, Prayer for Protection, James Dillett Freeman wrote, "Wherever I am, God is." And Eric Butterworth in Practical Metaphysics says, God is spirit, present in its entirety at every point in space and at the same time. This means the entirety of the divine is present in every one of my 37.2 trillion cells. I am divine, and I am human. The divinity is present in every one of your 37.2 trillion cells. You are divine, and you are human. Because I am divine, because you are divine, I am holy, and you are holy. I can perceive holiness in everyone and everything. Every person is holy. Every place is holy ground. I am holy. You are holy. We are all capable of holiness and seeing this in everyone and everything. Allowing yourself to settle in, to experience your own holiness in this moment, in this time. Taking a nice, easy in-breath with a soft, easy emptying. Allowing your mind to be filled with the best of this time in the silence. Giving yourself a second to reflect. I am vast. I am ever existent. I am beingness itself. Allow that truth that is you, that isness of you, in every cell of your being, to vibrate with the vibrant truth of that enlivened teaching. For you are divine, 100% divine, 100% human. So allow this time that you spend resting in your own divinity to rise to your conscious thought, so that it then becomes an action. You have the opportunity to rest in your own divinity every day as a way of building your capacity, not building your divinity, but your awareness, your capacity to bring it into the world. Transform lives, transforming the world. It's the vision of unity. And so it is. So thank you, all of you divine beings, for being here. And so now we also have the opportunity to bring up any youth or YOU, if there's any downstairs. And I don't believe there's any here today. But I will go on and state the statement for our YU. We see our Youth of Unity program growing, thriving with activity. Our programs teach and empower children and youth to live authentic and powerful lives using our basic unity principles. And so it is. We just talked about that. And now if our ushers can come forward, please. And if all of us together can state our prosperity blessing. Divine love expressing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am grateful. Thank you.
God, you are every mountain. God, you are every ocean. God, you are every canyon, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every morning. God, you are every midnight. God, you are every moment, every second of my life. And everything I see, and everything I do, and everything I am is you. Everything above, and everything below. everything above, and everything below, and everything I know is you. Everything I see, and everything I do, and everything I am, it's you. Everything above, and everything below, and everything I know is you. I am, and I see, and I do, it's you. Everything above, and everything below, and everything I know is you.
Thank you, beloveds. Thank you.
How wonderful. And before we do the offering, I do have to apologize. I got the wrong communication. We do have youth here. So can our youth please come forward? 1, 2, 3. Walking in the light, in the light, in the light. We are walking. So would you like to share? Okay.
So today we experimented
After this, you go up.
with a sense aroma therapy. It's like a humidifier, but you take scented oils and you put it in. So we all picked out 4 different scents. Each one of us picked out a different scent. I picked peppermint because Christmas, it reminds me of Christmas and candy canes and how Christmas is a good time to be cheerful and joyful. And then we all mixed our scents together and put them all in the mini humidifier. And we created a youth scent.
All right. So now let us bless the offering, please. We give thanks for the gifts that will support our mission of creating a spiritually awakened world. Thank you. And just a reminder that we do have prayer chaplains available to pray with you after each service. Carol LaPierre, along with Santa Sorensen as her co-facilitator, they've done a wonderful job of revitalizing the prayer chaplain program and making sure that our congregants or anyone in need of prayer has it available to them, available here up at the podium after service, or the prayer box in the vestibule here also accepts prayers. And if you would like to be held in prayer after your initial conversation with a prayer chaplain, please let us know. It is all confidential and will be honored with absolute integrity. Now let us thank everyone who participated in today's service. We have our audiovisual team in the back there, Bernice, Rich, and Rob. Thank you so very much. Our music team, of course, Katrina, Ian, Forrest, and Ryan. Thank you. Lovely job as always. Our ushers, Carol and Lynn. And of course, dear Debbie, who keeps everything clean and neat for us. Thank you, dear. And also, just a reminder for anybody joining us for the first time online, please give us a like on YouTube or Facebook. Let us know who you are, and let's have a dialogue. Thank you. And now the prayer of protection, please. The light of God surrounds us, our light. The love of God enfolds us, we are love. The power of God protects us, we are power. The presence of God watches over us, we are presence. Wherever we are, God is. We are divine.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.